Peace be with you. So, I've been thinking about what practical advice can I give young Muslims as far as life in general on this planet is concerned. Because no matter what is in the hereafter, we know how we get there, but we still have to live here. And there is a way to live here that is really makes life a lot easier and a lot more pleasant. As far as the spiritual parts of it, all of it is in the Quran. You're not going to have a pleasant life if you have money, but don't have Islam. If you got money but no Islam, you got nothing. You have all these tons of celebrities who end up killing themselves because they're so miserable, and they have all the fame and they have all the wealth. If you got wealth but no Islam, you got nothing. So the spiritual part of it is clear. The practical part of it, how to succeed in life, is very, very simple. You have to have skills, and you have to have skills that are in demand in your geographical region or in the region on which there is a great potential for you to actually immigrate to. Whether it's a different country or a different state, it doesn't matter. If you're willing to move for a job, like if you want to be work on an oil rig, for example, you're going to have to move, because you're not going to work in an oil rig in Washington, D.C. You know what I mean? So things like that. But acquire skills. Now, we call that school. Although some people, I certainly did not perceive school as acquiring skills. That is just something that I did because I was told to do. I never really looked at it that way. I had to do it, and that's what I did. And I did not like school. I don't know why. But I never had any pleasant experiences in school. But so I dropped out of school. So I'm a high school dropout, but I ended up going back to school, getting my GED, and then ended up going to medical school. So obviously, I'm not less than average smart, because I was able to finish medical school and college, right? So at least I'm average. So if I am able to be a doctor now, and I was average smart back when I was a high school dropout, what's the difference? What is the difference? It's not the intellect that's different. I didn't get smarter magically. What I did is I stopped doing drugs, and I started studying. I went to the military, which, if anything, set me straight and gave me the ability to apply myself to a task. If the military doesn't do anything for you, and honestly it didn't do anything for me, because I made a mistake of changing my MOS right after boot camp, so I did not enjoy it at all. But what I did gain is that. So the discipline that's needed is a lot more rare than the intellect that's needed, because I consider myself of average intellect. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. But what you didn't see is me sitting at I found myself a job at security companies, where I would just sit there all night with 8 hours of nothing else to do, and I would study. And that is acquiring a skill. When you actually study and you pick that you understand what you're doing. Of course, I never claimed to have understood everything I was doing, like physics, for example, or organic chemistry. I mean, these are beginner courses, and although I took a year of that, it's still, kind of nothing more than rudimentary knowledge of it. But it was hard. Those are the smart people, the chemists, and I think those are the smart people, to be honest. Bench work research. So those type of skills are in demand if you are in the right place. If you want to do bench research in, somewhere out in the forest, it's not going to happen no more than a guy's going to drill oil in Washington, D.C. You have to move. So you have to pick your environment. You have to know where you are going or where you are already at in order to know what skills you need to acquire to take that next step in the economic development of your family. You have to know what's in demand and where. But all of that requires effort. Very few people are super genius. Everybody requires an effort to study something. So no matter what you do, if you are acquiring a difficult skill like a nuclear physicist, that is going to be a lot of work, but a lot of people can do it. A lot of people can do it. Other professions like lawyers and doctors and all that, you can actually do it. It just takes a lot of effort. But it's not that hard. Because if a person of average intellect like myself can sit there and do it and pass these tests, then I believe anybody can do it. They just didn't get the opportunity. And what's the thing in life? We take this opportunity from us mostly because we don't obey God. Mostly because when God tells us in the Quran, hey, don't smoke this dope, you smoke this dope. When God tells us to develop these characteristics, we neglect them, which end up destroying our lives. And then you can't have the opportunity now to go to medical school because you just got out of prison. And some people get lucky and they don't get caught, but most people don't. In any case, if you are my advice is gain that skill, which requires hard work. Now the level of skill you choose to gain also will determine your status in society and in life. The harder the skill is to acquire, the more value it carries to society, and the more monetary reward you can expect. If you're easy to train, like a fast food cook, or somebody, something that doesn't require neither talent nor great intellect, you're going to be paid very low. If you pick a field that has no monetary value to anybody other than the government, like, I don't know, some sort of a social research crap, you may be able to get a grant, and who knows, that kind of work might even be important, but money talks ultimately, and those are going to be a low-paying, low-demand fields, although they will exist. And again, they probably are necessary, but we're talking about how to achieve monetary success in modern society. You have to have as many skills as possible where your value is increased. So when people need something done, you have that skill. That's it. The more skills you have, the more valuable you are. So if you are a young person, you have to understand this concept, because mistakes can be catastrophic. You pick a wrong field, you don't start putting in work on time, you just dropped out of college, you just dropped out of school, your dreams, poof, gone. Not because you're stupid, but because you just didn't put in work. You were smoking, you was drinking, you was partying. Hey, there's levels to everything, and that's how it goes. People think that just because they're so smart in high school, that they're just going to go to like a university, not even a community college, but a university, and everything's going to be easy, and they don't adjust quick enough. They don't adjust their work habits quick enough, and they fail classes. And once you fail classes, if you want to pursue higher levels of education, like MD, for example, you can't have failed any classes. The competition is so severe that that's why it's difficult to get into medical school. Not because nobody wants to go, because everybody wants to go. And these people put in work. I remember, I don't even know who said it, first day in medical school, or one of the first days, they said, I know all of y'all think that you're smart dogs, but look around you, you're surrounded by smart dogs. And like basically all you think that you're top of your classes, which a lot of people were, but this is going to be hard for you no matter who you think you are. All of you have the same ability because you're here, and if you think it's not going to be hard, you're stupid. And again, there are levels to this. I compare, for example, medical school and in college. The best analogy is with water. Let's say you have this water you have to drink. In college, you're drinking it out of a glass. You just got to finish the water. In medical school, you're drinking it out of a water fountain, not a water fountain, a fire hydrant. There's so much information coming at you, especially if you are choose fields other than biology. Like I was a computer science undergrad, but I took. So now this is. I'm gonna talk about this now for people who want to get into medical school. What my experience was. First, so this is because I see a lot of counselors, and I don't have a great number of people I spoke to, but the people I did speak to, counselors are really don't know what's going on. For medical school, you need a few factors. You need to do good in your classes. You have to be, upper echelons of GPA. You can, you can even get him like 3.6, but you really have to, especially if you want to get into a prestigious school, you have to be in the upper echelons. You have to do good on the MCATs. It's just a standardized test. It's just a freaking test. Anybody can do it. You just study for the test. You're not even studying for medicine. You're studying for a test. It's ridiculous. It just shows that you can take a test. You get those two good, that gets you in for an interview. So, like getting into the door for an interview is a standard process. Okay, mostly has to do with scores. If you have great scores, that means you got an interview. If you at the interview, how they decide about your character, they decide about your potential. I don't even know what the criteria they use to decide, but those are the people who decide whether you get into medical school or not. You just don't rub them the wrong way. Be respectful. And these people have to also remember you. So I think in that instance, having something other than a biology major is beneficial. Now, I don't know if for biology majors it was beneficial for them in medical school because they already had the foundation of knowledge, because I was a computer scientist. To me, that was all brand new. So I don't know if it helped there, but I think it certainly doesn't help you get into medical school anymore, because you have to take the prerequisites no matter what to apply, and that is good enough for most doctors, to be honest. Because if I was the interviewer and you want to do emergency medicine, I wouldn't care if you don't know the Krebs cycle and all those things, With such an explosion of information in medicine, I thought the computer science background would be helpful, but honestly, the only thing it was helpful for is to learn all the tons of EMRs that exist in medicine, electronic medical records. So that's for people who are interested in medicine. You have to do good on the test. You have to have good grades. You apply for medical school, you have to study in medical school, because nobody's smart enough not to have to study in medical school. It's a lot of freaking studying. It's actually kind of miserable and can even cause depression. Because like once you're done with the test, you're like, okay, what do I do now with my life? Because I just spent every day studying for the last 3 months. I don't even know what to do. It just screws you up. It can screw you up. So that amount of work, that's hard to do. It's hard to train people to do that. That is why they make more money. When you train somebody to make a McChicken, it's much, much easier. It can be done in a day. And it does not destroy them mentally. It does not whatever. So those are our options. Acquire a skill that is difficult to acquire and in demand, and you will be successful in this world, if God wills it. If you want to be lazy and do whatever, then I mean, expect what's expected. If you are easily trained, then you're easily replaceable. That's the end of it. So that's it.